All right, so let's just go ahead and jump in and see what we saw in the data.
Okay.
My kids just did horribly with the language standard 6.4.
Yeah, my kids did horrible as well. I'm trying to figure out if there was a way that I taught it.
I mean, I think we taught it. I mean, I'm sure we taught it, but maybe we missed something somewhere.
Okay, so let's think about when we taught that standard. How did we teach it? I think we taught it 2 days last week.
Yeah. And it was kind of short passages, not quite like intertwined with everything else, but kind of more like in isolation.
Okay, so let me look at L64A on this test to see how it shows up. So specifically question 2.
Yep. Yeah, like
says,
90, like majority of my kids got that wrong.
Oh wow, yeah. And it says dwindling in paragraph 7, but as I'm reading this, where's the word dwindling?
In the paragraph 7?
Yeah. Paragraph 7, dwindling. The amount and brilliance of the colors that develop in any particular autumn season are related to weather conditions that occur before and during the time the chlorophyll in the leaves is dwindling. Okay, so I taught them to look around the word to find clues, and I know we taught it in small, short passages, but do you see any clues that can tell you what, background knowledge aside, do you see any clues that can tell you what dwindling means?
Like just in that paragraph itself, or that one sentence, because the whole paragraph is one sentence.
One sentence.
Let's see. No, not really. But I think one thing that maybe I did not mention to kids, like looking at this now, is looking at other text features. So like the subtitle here, how does weather affect autumn color? And then having them know, like if I look at that heading, that subheading there, autumn, what happens in autumn with color, it fades. And so that might have been helpful. Yeah, just looking at that, because in that one sentence, if I isolate that, I really didn't know what dwindling meant, it might not have been helpful.
Yeah, so I think one of the things that we probably could have done better with is giving them examples in class where the clues are not specifically in that sentence, but it could be a text feature, or it could be that they have to read back a few paragraphs, and we gave them a very precise place to look in our example. So we probably could have given them more to work with. So that's probably one of the reasons why they got it wrong, because they're looking in this sentence and they're like, okay, dwindling, do I see any clues? And there pretty much are none.
Right.
Okay, so let's go ahead, and so we know that's one area we need to get better with. Let's go ahead and maybe try to solve it and then look at some student work to see what they put. So it says, what's the meaning of the word dwindling? Assembling and or gathering. Assembling and or gathering.
What may have caused them to choose that? Because I did have quite a few to choose A.
Gotta get my data together. Here we are. Yeah, I had a few that chose A as well. And so assembling and or gathering. If you chose that, assembling, meaning to put something together, gathering, to take something up. I wonder if I can see which kids chose that. 14. I don't see any clues for assembling.
I don't either. I think maybe we just need to have a conversation and ask the kids like what, because I don't really see anything that would have been like, oh yeah, maybe that's a misconception or a misread. I would like to know what they were thinking though. So
me too, because I don't see any clues for assembling and or gathering, and I'm wondering if the kids who chose this didn't understand what the word meant, so they just selected any answer choice just to put something. Okay. B, coloring and or turning, dwindling.
So in the paragraph prior in 6, it talks about colors and characteristics of certain species. And so, if I'm just reading this and not really looking at the words and I'm like, oh, they talk about colors here, then I might just be like, oh, they have the word color in paragraph 7. And so I may just choose that one because the majority of my kids chose B.
And let's say, for instance, if they were to read this feature right here, how does the weather affect color? That's another place where color is. So coloring and or turning. So dwindling means coloring and or turning.
Right.
So they're probably thinking in fall, leaves turn colors. So dwindling must mean that.
Right.
If a student chose that, though, then they're missing what the chlorophyll does.
Yeah.
So a student who chose that read the passage, but they probably use more of their background knowledge than the actual content.
Yes.
So that's not our answer. Let's keep going. Lessening and or decreasing. Okay. Chlorophyll. What is chlorophyll? Right here. Chlorophyll gives leaves their basic green color. Okay. Chlorophyll is present in the leaf cells throughout the growing season. Okay. During the growing season, chlorophyll is continually being produced and broken down, and leaves appear green. As night length increases in the autumn, chlorophyll production slows down.
Right.
So whatever makes the leaves green, that slows down and it stops and it's eventually destroyed.
So I think this goes back to when we said they're only looking in paragraph 7 and not connecting to the other paragraphs, because had they had made that connection, at night length increases in the autumn, right? And so then chlorophyll production slows down, and I would have connected that to chlorophyll. Chlorophyll gives the basic green color.
I would have known.
Right.
And that goes back to what you said about text features. Chlorophyll's in bold right here.
Right.
So if you didn't know what it meant, you could look right here on paragraph 3 and figure it out. So how many students chose C?
Collectively between us,
40. Majority of the kids thought it was B though. B.
Okay.
And then moving and or flowing.
That's like like answer choice A, where I would want to know why you chose
what
that.
You thinking? Yeah.
Was it just because you I just guessed? Or like what in here gave you the idea that it was
moving or flowing? Chlorophyll in the leaves is moving. So if they did a replacement, they might have thought, oh, it makes sense that chlorophyll moves or flows through the leaves.
We did say that. You could replace the word to make sure it makes sense, but in context, and maybe that's what they're missing. Like, doesn't make sense in context of what else is happening in the passage.
Okay, so getting our thoughts together, we have an issue that was on our part, and then we know what the issue was on their part. Yep. On our part, we didn't set them up for success because we gave them really short passages. And this requires you to read the entire passage. And then on their part, what will we say is a major misconception?
I think one of the major misconceptions is, what does it mean in context, right? So in context doesn't just mean in that paragraph, but in context to the bigger idea of the passage. So connecting it back to like why leaves change colors, which is the title of the piece, and then also your subtopics. Awesome. Well, now we know where we need to go, and we'll make our action